From the studios of the Department of Communication in Phillipsburg, welcome to Prime Minister Talks with Honorable Prime Minister Sylvaria Jacobs.
Hello, St. Martin. Welcome to Prime Minister Talks. This is Season 2, Episode 5. And today I am very happy to have with me a member of the NRPB. Of course, I'll give a proper introduction, and some of the beneficiaries of our Enterprise Support Project. As you know, government is the owner of the projects that are being carried out by the NRPB, and as such, they function as an arm of government. And we have been extremely proud about our Enterprise Support Project. Why? Because $35 million has been made available to assist small, medium enterprises. And that is for St. Martin a win, especially in this time of economic slowdown as a result of the hurricane and afterwards of the pandemic. So it came in at a very good time. And with us, we have Anissa Dykhoff, who is our Portfolio and Accounting Officer at the NRPB, specifically dealing with the Enterprise Support Project. Along with her, we have two others, but I'll start with Anissa. Welcome to Prime Minister Talks, Anissa, and give us a short intro as to what it is you're actually doing at NRPB.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for inviting us on this show. I'm happy to actually promote the Enterprise Support Project because, as indeed you mentioned, it is a win for St. Martin. I started at the NRPB in April 2020, so about a year ago exactly, when the Enterprise Support Project was just a piece of paper. And we were able, along with a brilliant team of 5 of us now, I believe, to bring the project to life. And I'm the Portfolio and Accounting Officer, so I basically deal with more on the reporting side with the World Bank, monitoring the MSMEs, the small businesses, and dispersing funds. So that's my role at the NRPB.
Okay, so for those people who do not know what ESP, the Enterprise Support Project, actually is, can you give a short the information about that in layman's terms so that they can understand? Because I think still not enough people understand that this initiative is out there.
Yes. So the Enterprise Support Project is basically allowing small businesses or giving small businesses access to finance. So what that means is businesses who make a revenue or turnover of 100,000 guilders or less monthly are eligible for the project, and they can come and apply for basically 3 packages. One package is Asset and Repair Package, which is a 65% grant, 35% loan, and this is by far obviously the most attractive packages for small businesses because of this grant component. So what this means is if you, let's say, have an ice cream parlor and you want to buy an ice cream machine, you would come and apply for financing to purchase this ice cream machine, and 65% of that will be a grant and 35% of that you will have to repay. And then we also have the working capital package, which offers beneficiaries the ability to finance their operational expenses, especially during this time, if they need to finance their backlog in rent or their salaries. So that's the working capital package, and they can apply up to $60,000 for that, but that's 100% loan. And then the third package is refinancing package. So those are the 3 packages that help us support small businesses during this time.
So you're functioning like a bank. How is it different from a business owner, especially one that may be just starting? And I know I needed to clarify that it's not only for existing businesses, but for new businesses as well. How is it different from going to a bank?
So basically the process starts at the NRPB. You would go to our website, you would look at the required documents, and the required documents are usually similar to what you would need for a bank. So like your Chamber of Commerce, your tax recladding, your business plan, your financial statements. There are 2 aspects that differ from the regular banking process, and that's procurement and environmental and social safeguards. So I know it's a mouthful, and even for me in the beginning, I had to grasp what that really meant. And so what that really means is, let's say the procurement side. So I'm going to use the same example, the ice cream parlor. You come and you want to buy an ice cream machine. we would require you to submit 3 comparable quotations for this one piece of equipment. And this is just to ensure that the MSME does their due diligence, shops around, and looks for not only the cheapest or best priced item, but they can get more value for that item. So we've experienced where MSMEs would come back to us and say, hey, I found this item cheaper than my supplier that I worked with for 5 years, and here they offer me a 1-year guarantee. So we kind of push MSMEs to go out there and do their due diligence, and that's the procurement
Process
aspect of it. And then for the environmental and social safeguard standards, we look at this aspect of the application to ensure that your application or your business does not have an environmental impact or a social impact. So we wouldn't want to fund a negative one. So we wouldn't want to fund, for example, if there's sewage runoff or waste runoff, we want to make sure you have all your permits in order. If you're a high volume clientele run business, we want to make sure you have your COVID plans. So we kind of push the MSMEs, and us as well, we do look at this aspect to look at environmental and social, and as well procurement. So those are the 2 differences.
I think I neglected to inform our viewers and listeners that Anissa is actually, we love to talk about this on St. Martin, local as they come.
Yes.
From an entrepreneurial family, that you have some experience in the public sector as well as in the banking sector itself, but you're also yourself an entrepreneur. So before we close off this first segment and then come back with the other guests, tell us a little bit about your own experience as a young entrepreneur.
So yes, indeed, I was raised in an entrepreneurial family, parents running their own business. So definitely that has had an impact on me in terms of career-wise, where I would like to go in life, let's say. And then I sort of started my own consultancy firm with the background of dealing more in the financial management aspect of it. So, I mean, it definitely has had an impact, especially with this project, understanding what MSMEs, small businesses on the island, have to go through on a day-to-day. And, they don't have a large organization or much support to deal with all aspects of their business. They're really just themselves dealing with the accounting, financial part, taxes, running their business. So, with that lens and with that in mind, our team as well has some experience with that. It helps us, understand the MSME world a bit better and try our best to facilitate as best as we can through this project.
Great. I just wanted to highlight that, Anissa, because I think it's excellent. Not only are you a young entrepreneur yourself, you do have experience. It's a good example, a role model for even other SME owners to say, hey, I can do this too, and that we have options here on St. Martin. The support you're talking about will come out a little more when we speak to our other 2 guests, and we will wrap up this segment and be right back with Prime Minister Talks, episode 2, as we highlight 2 of our recipients of the grant/loan program that is being offered through our enterprise support program. Come right back.
Prime Minister Talks with Honorable Prime Minister Sylveria Jacobs.
All persons, even those who have received a COVID-19 vaccine, must continue to maintain physical distance, wear a mask to protect themselves and their communities, and thoroughly wash their hands. Patience is key and commitment is essential. The ability to keep each other safe and healthy is literally in our hands.
Hi, I took the vaccine. Ik ben gevaccineerd.
I took the vaccine.
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 I took the vaccine. Me vacuné. Vacúnate.
I took the vaccine.
Oui, j'ai pris le vaccin.
I took the vaccine.
Moi prends un vaccin.
I took the vaccine.
Be part of the solution. I will do my part.
Prime Minister Talks with Honorable Prime Minister Silveria Jacobs.
Welcome back to Prime Minister Talks. I'm Silveria Jacobs once again with the NRPB representative Anissa Dykhoff of the ESP project, as well as two of our recipients, Miss Merle Scarborough and Mr. Lloyd Beaton. I will let them do the introductions for themselves so that you can get to know them. They are two of the recipients, and then we'll come back to Anissa to talk about how much has already been disbursed. Merle, welcome to Prime Minister Talks. Tell us a little bit about your little enterprise and how you got to know about this project.
Okay, hi, good afternoon. Well, as you mentioned already, my company is 3XM Studios. We do architectural design, and I heard about the enterprise via a friend who worked for the credits in the Netherlands actually, and they heard about the program being in St. Martin as well, and that's how I heard about it first. So I was very very excited for it. Was a very great opportunity for a young entrepreneur like myself to get this to get extra funding for the company as well. So.
And your inspiration to start your business, where does that come from?
Since I was a young kid, I always had the dream to have my own company. And whilst my studies in London, in the university, I really, I saw it as a great opportunity because it was a melting pot with so many different people from all over the world. And one of my classmates and I decided that we were going to start our own company. And unfortunately, due to Irma, I came back to St. Martin to be closer to my family. But I still kept the dream alive, and I started the company here.
Great. So I'm very happy that you were able to do that. I love stories of our youth coming back home and actually building back this country. So welcome back home, even though you've been here a few years.
Thank
and
you.
Happy to have been able to supply the need at this time. Let's now meet Mr. Lloyd Beaton of Kidda Tours and More. Did I say it correctly?
Yes. It is Kidda Tours and More. Thank you for having me, Prime Minister, on your show. Kidda Tours and More is a company. We do boat charters, but it's mostly with tourists. And the more is because we also do fishing, or we're planning to do fishing. That's basically what our company is about.
Great. And I met Mr. Beaton when the NRPB came to update the Council of Ministers, and we were so blown away by his story. I told my staff right away, we have to bring in some of the others and hear more about it so that it can come to life for the people of St. Martin. Anissa, as the coordinator or the officer that's managing this portfolio for the NRPB, how much funds, we talked about 35 million being available, how much funds have already been disbursed, and can you give me an idea of how many beneficiaries we've had, as well as through which venues?
Yes. Okay. So to date, we have dispersed $1.7 million. And as at the end of Q1 of 2021, we've had 30 approvals. And that is definitely some progress for us, seeing that the project launched in August of 2020. And, things started off slow. We're working through the kinks of everything. And at the end of 2020, we were at 7 approvals. So definitely the additional 22 that we were able to capture and push through at the end of quarter was definitely great for us. And, we hope to continue along the lines of supplying at least 10 MSMEs per month. On average. And then depending on our workflow, increase that number, of course. And just a little bit about just the application process. So MSMEs would have to compile all their documents and submit to the NRPB first. We do the pre-screening, we check the eligibility, and once the application has passed this pre-screening stage, we then send the application on to the business's preferred financial institution. And our 3 financial partners to date are Credits, WIB, and Banco de Caribe. So once we pass our pre-screening, we send the application on to Credits, WIB, or Banco de Caribe. They do their credit assessment because there is still a loan portion that needs to be assessed if the client can repay. And once we receive their approval, the package is good to go for disbursement.
Great. So with that, I'm now going to swing right back to Merle. Based on your business, did you have previous experience here on St. Martin working prior to getting your business off the ground?
Yes, I worked at an architectural firm here in St. Martin, but that was shortly after my dad died. And then I had this pivoting moment in trying to refine myself and my passion and my goals. And then a friend of mine actually reached out to me. She's like, hey, can you do a design for me? And then I was like, okay, sure. And I started researching the market here, the architectural market in the Caribbean, and I noticed that there was a huge gap between architectural firms that did like $1 million projects and the average Joe. And that's when I decided to start 3XM Studio to create my own niche and focus more on architectural design and the spatial aspect of it.
And great. How was then getting the info about credits, which you'd heard about?
Yes.
How did that process go for you in terms of your application, and how did you experience that?
It was a very educational process in terms of, as you mentioned before, we were one of the first. So they still had a lot of little things to fine tune during our processes as well. So we were like the guinea pigs, if you were like. But their feedback was great, and they had a lot of questions, and they were very critical. So that also gave you a lot of time to think about what you want to achieve with the company, and also reflect on how can you actually use their input to then grow your company and business as well.
Oh, so it also had an effect on you in terms of giving you ideas?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so how did you, or are you now fully up and running since you were one of the quote-unquote guinea pigs?
Yes.
And the amount that has been disbursed has been divulged. Were you able to get everything in order, and how is it going now in your business?
Yes, so the company is 2 years now. And so the company has always been running, and we applied for the grant and the loan to help us get the equipment that we need to take the business to the next level in terms of the technical aspects. We're still busy with purchasing some of the equipment that we need and doing some remodeling for the office space and stuff like that. So once that is completed, we will be very happy about the process.
Well, I would like to say congratulations to you, as I assume since you were doing it before you got the upgraded equipment, that you were already doing some work. And through this venue, I'm hoping that more St. Martin people will see fit to contact you. You can always throw out your call number at some point during the program. But at the moment, I'd like to swing over to just give Mr. Beaton also a short introduction into the process for you to go through to get your loan / grant via the ESP.
For me, it was not basically, as Anissa just explained, what the application process would be, because I also was one of the first people that was asked to be in that pilot project, I would say. So it was more that Credit, since I was a customer at Credit, that they approached me when I had a request for some more funds to finish my first boat. That they said like, hey, listen, this and that is going to happen. There will be certain funds coming available. We would like to put you in that pilot process. So it was a little bit the other way around, but I think we learned from everything. And also, it was clear from the first moment that it was a pilot project. So yes, I had to fill out some forms maybe 2-3 times, but that was basically for all of us to find the best way to work, and also to pave the way for others that would come after us. The nice thing is that at the end, our plans were rewarded with the grant / loan. And yeah, we are very happy about it.
Okay, great. You see how quickly these segments go by. We've just finished our second segment, and I would love you to stay tuned because there's a lot more information coming to you from the ESP program. Come back in a few minutes.
Prime Minister Talks with Honorable Prime Minister Sylvaria Jacobs.
All persons, even those who have received a COVID-19 vaccine, must continue to maintain physical distance, wear a mask to protect themselves and their communities, and thoroughly wash their hands. Patience is key and commitment is essential. The ability to keep each other safe and healthy is literally in our hands.
Hi, I took the vaccine. Ik ben gevaccineerd.
I took the vaccine.
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 I took the vaccine. Me vacuné. Vacúnate.
I took the vaccine.
Oui, j'ai pris le vaccin. I took the vaccine.
Moi prends vaccin.
I took the vaccine.
Be part of the solution. I will do my part.
Prime Minister Talks with Honorable Prime Minister Sylvaria Jacobs.
Welcome back to Prime Minister Talks, where we're in the last segment of our discussion on the Enterprise Support Project, which is led by Anissa Dijkhoff, local St. Martin girl, female. And we have another young female entrepreneur in here, Miss Merle Scarborough, and of course, Mr. Beaton, more experienced, but also with a great story. Mr. Beaton, this is the last segment. I'd like to give you the opportunity to tell us a little bit about, as a businessman, and encourage others on how they can come out of their comfort zone and also look at this as an opportunity to grow themselves and the community and the economy of St. Martin.
Yeah, thank you. I strongly believe that a crisis can bring you much further. We just heard what Merle just said, that is on a personal level, but also we all experienced, let's say, Irma and Maria, but also we're all in a pandemic. But still we are talking about initiatives, about companies, people, entrepreneurs, and things like that. And I think that's very important. If you have a good plan or think, hey, let me start something new, just to give you a personal, how you say that, a personal story. I was working at the Mental Health Foundation, and at a certain point they asked me if I wanted to be the manager at a boat yard. And I didn't know anything about boats, yeah? And a month after that I started, Irma hit the island. And we were salvaging one of the boats. It was really wrecked. And one of my new colleagues said, as soon as we got it out of the water, he said, that's mine. Basically, he was claiming the boat and he started cleaning it. And where I first thought, like, what is he doing? Why would you want something like that? The boat looked very nice after he cleaned it. So the way that I got my second boat is because more boats were lifted out of the Great Bay. And I thought the same thing. That one is mine. And that was my first boat. Through this whole program, I was able to repair that boat. It is a very nice boat. The owner, the previous owner wanted to buy it back, but I'm not giving it back. But through the program, I was able to buy a second boat, yeah? So never give up hope, yeah? Always try to do your thing.
Thank you so much. I mean, your story, and this is the part of the story that inspired me the first time I heard this. I suspect we may have to have a part 2 of this segment still, because I think getting more into the personal stories and the struggles is something that the St. Martin people can identify with and actually grow from. So I'm not going to end the program on this note. What we'll do is close off the segment, and then we'll come back and still do a couple more segments to get a little deeper into more of the story behind the project that you're actually working on. So with that, I would let you, how many more minutes? I'm going to let Anissa tell us a little bit about what some of the challenges applicants face, and then we will close off the segment, and in part 2, we'll bring you some more of the personal stories as well as other experiences I think you can learn a lot from. Anissa?
Thank you. That was a very amazing story. I think that was the first time I heard Mr. Lloyd's story, but very inspiring. And I hope it inspires all the entrepreneurs out there to, step out of their comfort zone and apply for funds to get started. Some of the challenges that we've experienced as a team or that MSMEs face is, I mentioned the 2 additional aspects, the procurement and the environmental and social safeguards. So basically looking at your application from that perspective, it may be new to them, and if they're not familiar, they may find some challenges in going through that process. But I think it raises the level for the entrepreneurs. And as Merle mentioned, it was a very educational process for her, because I think the process is somewhat, it requires a lot out of entrepreneurs, and thus it really pushes them to dig a little deeper, think a little more deeper about their business, and we do actually, I think putting together the application or putting together the package may be a challenge for them. And, because the NRPB wants to ensure that the businesses are viable and sustainable for the long run, we really delve in, and I think that may pose a challenge for some of the MSMEs, but it all comes from, a good place and wanting them to succeed in the long run.
You see, you have me so intrigued, Anissa, and your guest. I really want us to wrap off this segment, and we'll be right back with part 2 of this enterprise support project, a highlight of the NRPB and its recipients. Thank you for joining us thus far. Please come back.